certifications as well, which is important to tell you about. So we are certified by the CIS, the Center for Internet Security. So these are the experts in the secure configuration hardening guidance. So we have all of their certified benchmark reports pre-built into the product for you, ready to use out the box, as well as a number of monitoring templates, again certified by the CIS. So it's not just this is not us saying this is what you should do. We are very much using the guidance from the industry experts out there. And then we have some really nice integrations as well. So we can integrate with change management solutions like ServiceNow, BMC Remedy, for example. Are you using any ITSM kind of solution there to assist with change management?
As on date, we are using Manage Engine now.
Manage Engine, great. Okay, yeah, we can integrate with Manage Engine as well. We have a few customers integrating Change Tracker with Manage Engine. And are you using Manage Engine for SIM as well?
Not really.
Okay, what's the SIM solution that you have there?
No, we don't have something.
Okay, cool.
Anything in place as on date.
Great. Okay. No problem. I'm sure Kailash will be able to help you with that. So once you have, cool. So we also have integrations for those as well. So any system that can receive syslog, we can integrate with that. So just a quick overview of some of the companies we kind of work with, just to show you, we have lots of customers on a global basis. So there's going to be lots of names here that you recognize. So in terms of India, we're working with Vodafone in India, as well as globally. We're also working with Tech Mahindra, IndusInd Bank, Clearing Corporation. There are a few others as well, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But so lots of customers. We work with some customers who cover maybe 50 or 100 devices, right up to the likes of IBM, who cover hundreds of thousands of servers with Change Tracker, helping them to ensure secure configurations and have change detection in place. So hopefully that tells you that we have a really scalable and robust solution that is trusted by some of the largest companies in the world. So just to make things super clear for you on the functions for Change Tracker before we jump into the demo. So first of all, Change Tracker is going to benchmark your current configuration settings against the CIS recommendations. So there's no work involved for you here. It's just once you roll out the agents, that would automatically take care of that benchmarking process for you to tell you how secure you are right now in line with the best practices. And usually, if you haven't done any kind of hardening of those settings, it's going to be a pretty low score. But the good news is you'll get a really clear report that will tell you line by line exactly where you pass and fail. There'll also be remediation guidance included within that report, as you'll see during the demonstration. But we don't just leave you there with the guidance. We also provide our customers with certified remediation kits as well, and so they're kind of a group policy object or a shell script for you to roll out in the usual kind of group policy or Puppet fashion to get those settings nice and secure, nice and quickly as well. And then the really crucial part of the secure configuration monitoring is once you have a hardened build, you want to make sure that it stays secure, right? And that if any settings change, you want to be alerted to that pretty quickly. So the other piece of the product is configuration drift management. So essentially, as we just said, once you've hardened those settings, Change Tracker will automatically monitor all of those devices and those secure settings, so that if anyone changes something at any time that drops you away from your compliant build, then you're going to be alerted to that right away, so you can keep on top of those security settings on a continuous basis and make sure that you remain secure on a consistent basis. And then finally, it is what we call change control. So part of change control is, of course, real-time and contextual file integrity monitoring. That FIM is the big piece for your compliance requirements out there. You know, that's what they all want to see, file integrity monitoring. This is what's going to help you to track deleted and added files and folders and all that good stuff. But you'll see in the demonstration that we are way more than just FIM. So you'll see that we can keep track of pretty much any kind of change on your environment and alert you to those changes in real time. So this is the last slide, just to give you a bit of a feel for the architecture. So Change Tracker is software, and you can install that software on any Windows server. So it's a Windows 2016 or above, physical, virtual, cloud, however, wherever you want to put that, you can do so. With that software, you get the Change Tracker Hub and the Change Tracker database, which is a MongoDB. So no need for any additional SQL licenses or anything like that. That's all included for you as standard and all fully supported by NNT. And that includes the database as well. And yeah, so really there's two ways that you can use the Change Tracker. So first of all, is agent-based monitoring. So anywhere that we can install software, so whether that's database servers, Windows servers, or workstations, Unix, Linux, AIX, any kind of system that you have, as well as cloud and containers as well, we're able to provide you with real-time, really contextual change detection on there. So it's a lightweight agent, sits at the kernel, and provides you that real-time contextual monitoring. So, what was the change? When was that change made? Who made that change? All that good information that you want in real time. And we always recommend that, wherever you can, use the agent, because it's going to give you the best information, and it's going to be real time. And then for things like, I don't know if you've got any of these in scope, but for things like network devices, firewalls, switches, routers, it's important to monitor change and configurations on those as well. They're often a gateway into your environment. So, of course, we can't install software on those, but what we can do is we can set one of our agents to proxy into those devices on a scheduled basis. So this is where we use agentless monitoring, because we can't install the agent on those network devices, but as long as we can get a secure connection into them, what we do is on a scheduled basis. So maybe once an hour or once a day or something. Change Tracker will baseline what good looks like on those network devices, and then run the appropriate prompts and commands and alert you to any changes away from that known good baseline. So any questions up until this point? Is that
not really? But I guess I'm curious to understand more about the product. No doubt it gives you an impression that it will help me to track all the devices which is on the network, and any changes in terms of appliance, any desktop. But basically, that means, say, suppose, what would be the frequency that we can set for this, having this tool in place, means to generate this reports or something like that? What would you recommend as to the best as an expert?
Yeah, so in terms of the frequency of monitoring, so of course for your for anywhere that we install the agent, the frequency of monitoring is real time. So yeah, but then for the networking devices, obviously the agent can't sit on those, so we can schedule the prompts and commands to be run, and it's up to you. So it depends on your appetite for risk, right? Some of our really security conscious customers, like some of the the big banks, the big global banks, and the government organizations, they want to be running that running those prompts and commands every hour, for example, because they want to know really quickly if something happens. But then we have other customers who maybe have it happen once a day. or even once a week, but it's entirely up to you, and it's different organization to organization. So you can change it any time as well. It's fully customizable. It's really granular and easy to customize things in the product. So you might try it, do it once a day, but then you might find, actually, we only need it once a week, or actually, we want to do it more regularly. So it's entirely up to you on the frequency there. Just one more thing to mention before we jump into the demo is this guy here, this fast whitelisting service. So when you're looking at these kind of monitoring solutions, which are essentially monitoring all change on all devices, right? If you think about what's happening on your network, things like Windows updates, patching, people going about their day-to-day work, malicious activity, all of this starts to generate tons of change events, right? So often that will lead to hundreds or thousands of alerts all the time. Alert, and that can quickly become a little bit tiresome and not very helpful, because if you're inundated with alerts for everything that's happening, well, how are you supposed to determine what was good and what was potentially bad, right? So that's something to watch out for. And actually, our approach to this is the number one reason why people choose to work with us and our change tracker solution, because we have implemented a few ways in which you can get rid of all that noise, really cut down the alerts, typically by about 90-95%. Approve the planned changes, the good stuff, the business as usual, operational good changes, and only be alerted to the genuine unplanned activity that could be something malicious. So first of all, if you know in advance what's going to happen and you have a change management process, which it sounds like you do, with Manage Engine there helping you out with the ICSM. So you can actually tell Change Tracker by creating planned change rules. You can say, okay, this group of devices is going to have this patch rolled out at this time. So when that happens, automatically approve those changes through as planned. That's one way. We can automate that process by tying in with your Manage Engine. So Manage Engine will automatically create those rules in Change Tracker, and Change Tracker will feed any unplanned activity back to Manage Engine as a ticket. And then probably the most efficient way to reduce the operational changes is this guy, our fast whitelisting service. So this is a really powerful whitelist that contains currently about 10 billion legitimate, reputable hash values in here. It's contributed to every single day by over 500 different contributors. So that includes the likes of Microsoft, Java, Adobe, Carbon Black, Kaspersky, all these commercially available feeds, giving us over 2 million updates every single day to our database. So hugely up to date. And how it works is, as changes occur on your systems, file changes occur on your systems, Change Tracker will automatically take the unique hash value of that file, compare it to the whitelisting service. If that hash is in there, then we know that it has a good reputation. In other words, it's a legitimate file that is not going to cause you any harm. It's not malicious in nature. So we can go ahead and automatically approve that file through for you as a planned safe change, so that you're not getting inundated with alerts for things like Windows updates and commercially available patching, business as usual changes. And you'll find, as you use the product, that most of your changes is going to be good business as usual, operational, needed change activity. So we can reduce your alerts, by around 90-95%, so that you're only being alerted to genuine unplanned change activity that wasn't planned for in advance and that does not have a good reputation, and therefore could be something like malware or ransomware, for example. So any questions before I jump into the demonstration? Is that all clear to this point?
Yes, to an extent, I am clear, but since you mentioned me that this as in real time would be much more effective in terms of means identifying any changes or changes or malicious activities is happening in our network. The point what I intend, I would like to know more about this and how effective it will be in terms of means say some proactively will it give me some alerts. Thus, there is some malicious act that is supposed to be, that attempt has been happened, and so do we need to isolate certain things on this these number of workstations or these number of missions? It some impact or some someone has some activity has happened, so we need to isolate or some what kind of recommendations that it will give.
Okay, yeah, so that sounds like a slightly different kind of solution. So what we're doing is we're looking to build a known good secure baseline within your environment, and then we monitor changes away from that secure baseline so that it's very easy to spot any potential malicious activity. What you're talking about, it sounds like it's more like an EDR, like an endpoint detect and response, like an AV type solution. So yeah, this is not an AV product. It's it's a change detection solution. So we're looking out for changes, not for not proactively hunting. We're not proactively hunting threats. We are monitoring changes that occur and alerting you to unplanned changes.
See that it is mentioned, the solution you mentioned is most comprehensive continuous change control for everything in it. It is more of a change control as sort of thing, but it will not give. I mean, I'm just that's a curiosity question that is whether this will help to that extent or not. That's what my question is.
So you cut out a few times there. Could you repeat your question?
Okay, sure. Means this my sorry, my point was just a curiosity question. Means I could see that no, this is exclusively for the change tracker only. Whereas I mean to say, will it this solution will help me to an extent of means that's a curiosity question. I was assuming that this will also help in that aspect also.
Yeah, so it will help you kind of identify changes that have occurred on your systems that did not have a good reputation and were not planned for in advance. So changes that are unplanned, and it's as we were kind of saying before, malware, whether it's known malware or new 0-day malware, it's only bad if it changes something. So only bad things. Bad things can only happen if there has first been some kind of a change. Maybe an executable file or something has appeared and changed something. So we're able to detect if something has changed and that it was not planned for, or it was not it was not reputable, and we can alert you to that. It might make more sense as I go through the demo, because first of all, kind of what we're doing, we help you to determine a secure baseline on your system. So configuration settings, making sure that all your windows and doors are locked, and you're kind of secure from a setting perspective, and then tracking changes away from that. So just jump into here. So hopefully you can see my dashboard here.
Yes, I can.
Cool, great, okay. So So this is the change tracker dashboard, and you can see from our layout here, it's going to be super easy to navigate the products and get to the information that we're after. So we have a fully interactive, fully customizable dashboard. So you can move things around, you can click into these different parts of the dashboard. It's going to take you to the relevant area of the product. You can have as many dashboards as you like. So you could have every user could have their own unique dashboard, for example. So if I logged in using my AD credentials, I'd have the most relevant information to my role in front of me upon login. And first things first, we want to make sure that we're first on a secure environment, right? So we have all of these CIS benchmark reports pre-built into the product for you. There's 240 in here already, and these are applied automatically based on the operating system. Now, all of these benchmark reports are customizable. We would even help you to do that because you probably don't want to be 100% compliant with the CIS, because it will essentially, lock down the system too much and it won't be usable. So it's a case of getting a fine balance between operations and security. So there's a couple of things that are going to happen for you straight away. So straight away, Change Tracker groups the devices by the operating system, and then it applies the appropriate CIS benchmark to figure out how secure your current configuration settings are against the CIS recommendations. And ISO 27001, one of the first things they tell you to do is to have secure configuration settings in place that align to something like the CIS. So you can see this server's current configuration settings are 24.9% compliant with the CIS recommendations. So that's not a very good score. Typically, an auditor is going to want to see 50 or 60% compliance in your secure environments against the CIS, because that shows that you have hardened your configuration settings away from the default settings, because any potential hacker is going to know what the default settings are for a Windows 2016 server. So we give you 52 pages here of line after line of settings. So there's thousands of configuration settings in here. So Change Tracker does all of the heavy lifting and automatically tells you where you pass and fail. So for example, CIS, they recommend that we should have 24 or more passwords in our password history. But for you guys, you might think, 24, that's too strict. We only need 10 or 12 or something. So again, you can customize these reports to reflect your own internal requirements. But in this instance, we have failed. The reason that we failed, we should have 24 or more passwords in our history, but we only have 10. So that doesn't meet our minimum rule. That's why we failed. And then there's remediation guidance here to help you to mitigate this risk and get that back in line with your policy in a manual remediation way. But we don't just leave you there with the manual remediation. We also have those remediation kits that are available to our customers. So there's a group policy object that you can roll out using group policy to get those settings nice and secure and looking something like this. So you can see the same group of devices, but now we have our Group Auto custom build standard benchmark report being run against the same group of devices, and we're compliant. We're nice and secure against our own policy. So we're looking good. And then what Change Tracker is doing now is we've baselined what good looks like on this device against the policy here, and we're just checking back in with the agent is just reassuring us on a consistent basis that nothing's happened, nothing's changed until we get to this time here. So you can see we've dropped in compliance. There's a red thumbs down. We could have had an email alert to tell us about this. But while I'm in the console, I can see nice and easily what's happened. So our password history has been changed. It's happened within this 2 minutes. Our rule is that we should have 24 or more passwords. The actual setting is 10. That's why it's failed. And the remediation guidance is here again, so you can mitigate this risk, get that back in line with your policy. and get that setting back in line. So what we're doing here in this first part of the product is, first of all, how secure are you right now in line with the industry best practices? We can help you to improve the security of those settings and therefore massively reduce your risk of a breach in the first place, and then continuously ensure that your settings remain secure and compliant on a consistent, ongoing basis. Any questions on the configuration hardening before I show you the overall change detection piece?
No, you can go ahead. Yes.
Awesome. How do you currently improve your configuration settings and make sure they're secure?
Yeah, this of course this is one thing which is essential in terms of for the audit reports. Yes, means whether the password that you have showcased, that yes, how many passwords has been added or whether not. Yes, but going forward, this is something we have to retain in records. Means that's an audit purpose, whether this tracking or these things has been other at our organizations is mandatory.
All right, great, cool. So yeah, this will be really beneficial and something that your auditors will really like. So there's a few other things that happen for us automatically as well. We also have the CIS certified monitoring templates, and they are again automatically applied based on the operating system. So what we give you out the box is a really good starting point for change detection. So OS level monitoring out the box, all the templates automatically applied. So to get up and running and start getting value back from the product is pretty much immediate. And then it's just a case of working with us during the implementation phase to fine tune these templates in line with your own requirements. But the initial installation and rollout is super quick and easy, and you can get value back right away. So this is our monitoring template. This is you can see here our FIM tab, our file integrity tab. So this is the critical piece for compliance. But as you can see, there's lots of tabs here. So there's lots of different areas we can be monitoring for change. So way more than just FIM. Yeah, as I say, the theme of the product is that it's really, really easy to customize. So again, here's the starting point we give you. You can edit any of these existing rules in there. If you want to add any additional folders for monitoring, enter your folder path in here, select from the drop down what you want to be monitoring. Tracking style is whether we're using agent-based or agentless monitoring or both. The file attributes we want to keep track of change against, even the hashes. All right, so complete FIM capabilities there. We can also exclude any folders from monitoring as well, nice and easily down here, so we can create exclusion rules as well. So that's the FIM piece. We can also look into any particular file content changes. So this is more for text files. If you wanted to monitor any text changes within files, you can do that in real time. Any new installed software and updates, changes to the registry. So lots of malicious activity takes place within the registry. So again, really, really important to have a good handle on registry key changes as well. Processes and services. So you can start to build blacklists and whitelists in here. So for example, if you want to blacklist something like Java executables, processes and services occurring on your Windows 2016 servers, enter a blacklist rule here. So anytime change tracker detects any Java executable process or service occurring on this group of devices, it's going to alert you to that in real time so you can take the appropriate action. Also, security and audit policy, any new users being added or removed, even network port activity. So of course, the more network ports you have open, the more vulnerable you are. So really important to have a good handle on network port activity as well. And then this piece here is the process and command output. So this is more for the networking devices that we mentioned earlier. So those firewall switches, routers. I do actually have a template for Cisco routers here. And essentially what happens with these is change tracker will baseline what good looks like, and then on a scheduled basis. So you asked about the schedule, so we can do hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. And it's going to do a show run, a show start, and show version command on an hourly basis to our Cisco routers, and it will tell us the any changes that occur away from our baseline on this scheduled basis. So, any questions on these templates? Well, hopefully this template shows you really kind of granular and complete change detection capabilities. But yeah, any questions on any of those tabs before I actually make some changes and show you the outputs?
It is to an extent very much granular level. It is available most of the thing. But when I could see it, even by the extent of the network ports also can be done. Can be tagged out for changes. So can you please help me in case if say suppose in terms of Cisco switches or any switches, the network switches. So will it help me? Say so today this particular port is meant for a particular connected to a particular point, a particular device, and tomorrow by a need has been arised, it has been changed to some other port. Can that be? Can the details can be derived from this one?
So, sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Say suppose I have 10 switches in place in my data center. So all the VLANs has been configured, port-wise ports has been defined. This port has been configured meant for this device. This port is meant for this device. So in case the need has arisen and the port has to be changed for some other reasons, some valid reasons. So can the changes can be tracked from this?
Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, I believe that would be configured within this piece of the template here. So forgive me, I'm not one of the technical team members here. So that question is a little bit beyond my technical capabilities. However, if that is something you wanted to see more depth on, then more than happy to schedule a more technical deep dive session with you. But yes, this is where we would track network port activity.
Yeah. In today's scenario, what we do manually maintain an Excel sheet. Say, suppose an engineer who's responsible for that devices. What he has to do in case he has to change, he has to maintain an Excel sheet for that.
Okay, right.
Which is in a manual. It is in a manual. So there could be a possibility that he missed it out to update certain things. So
yeah, that would give him lots of time back.
Yeah. So, so if it is when it's automatically configured, can that changes be tracked out so that we can, if the audit report says that whether these changes has really been captured or not in this sheet, that can help me out.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. I'm pretty sure I've got a article on it on our website as well. I'll dig it out for you. So there's one here where we kind of talk about ports protocols. So there's I'll send this to you. But we did have another one which was here you go, reduce the attack surface. Tracking open network ports. So we have, so we do have some good articles specifically around tracking ports as well that I can share with you. We do have a couple of others, so I'll send those to you as a follow-up after the session. That just might help you with a little bit more detail around what we do with the network ports. Oops. Cool. Okay. So yeah, just conscious of time. So I'm going to make a few changes now. So I've got here another dashboard. So this dashboard is literally looking at all change events in the last 24 hours. And we keep it nice and simple. Every change is going to be either a planned change or an unplanned change. So remember we talked about reducing change noise earlier and having a good change management process so we can understand what should be happening versus what is happened outside of our plan. So hopefully we're going to see lots of green plan changes. So we have those methods to make sure that we have plan changes here. So we can manually create plan change rules. We have a wizard in the product that helps us to do that. So you can kind of say this group of devices are going to have this patch rolled out at this time. When that happens, automatically approve them through as planned. So that's one way. And then we can automate that process by integrating with ITSM. So we can integrate with Manage Engine. And then we have this guy, our whitelisting service, our fast cloud service, that is going to automatically approve files through as safe based on their file reputation. So using those methods, we should see lots and lots of green plan changes and very few red unplanned changes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make some changes now. So I've got 30 DLL files. I'm literally just going to copy and paste these into this Windows NT folder. So that's 30 items I've just pasted in here just for demo purposes. So, if you pretend I'm doing like a manual Windows update or something, I've got my change tracker agent watching over this. And out of interest, when you do your patching, do you test those patches on a pre-production environment first?
On a testing basis, yes, on a for certain cases, especially for the critical systems, for the design systems, otherwise not for all the systems.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. So what a lot of our customers do is they actually have change tracker running on their pre-production environment as well. So when they're doing testing of patching, they can very easily track the patching behavior, so the patching activity, what happens with that patch. And then you'll see as I show you in the demo here, you can very easily create plan change rules from your testing. So if I just refresh this, we've seen 29 changes come through as planned, just the one come through as unplanned. If I click into these green plan changes, this is our audit trail of all of the automatically approved changes in here. So we can see the device, we've got the date and time, and crucially, we have the reason that these files were all automatically approved. And we can see very clearly that it was our fast whitelisting service that has recognized the good, legitimate reputation of 29 out of 30 files, and it's automatically approved those for us. So that's taken away all of that work from us, right? Because we don't really need to look into these, so we're not going to be alerted to these changes. But the good news is we have the audit trail here, so we can look into any of these if we wanted to. But the idea here is that we've taken away all the work there, and now you just have this guy. This is the only one that came through as unplanned. So this particular file, right, it wasn't planned for in advance as part of change management. It was the reputation of the file was not recognized as being good. So that's why it's been flagged up to us. So we would only have been alerted to one unplanned change here. So only one alert, which is pretty good going. So we've got the same information here, but it's some red exclamation points to highlight that this is unplanned. And if I click into this description, we have now some forensic level detail of what's happened. So we can see that a new file was added to that Windows NT folder, right, that I copied and pasted into. We've got the name of the file. So, all right, it's a bespoke application file in my NNT demo lab. It's probably not anything malicious, but a real world example of this is maybe you've got some custom build application that's not commercially available. So there's no way that a third party whitelist could pick that up. and for whatever reason it slipped through your change management process. But Change Tracker has picked it up, right? And we can see again, this is where this is the location, but crucially we have the username of who made this change. So we could go and speak to the administrator and ask them what they're doing, making changes outside of our change window, for example. They may be able to help with an investigation. This is the hash value. So this is the only piece of information that's ever shared with FAST, because the FAST the whitelist it only contains this. So it's a yes or no. Was it in there? The answer here was no, it wasn't in there, and that's why it's been flagged up as unplanned. And then there is more information down here that could help us as part of an investigation. But for the sake of time, let's pretend that we're happy with this. We've done our investigation, and actually, this is nothing malicious. It's perfectly fine, and I'm happy to see this continue to come through. But actually, maybe this was maybe we've just done a test patch on our pre-production environment. So if I pull up all of these 30 changes that we just made, what I could do from here, so I can see I've got the audit trail here. This is now this is my expected behavior from the patch that I've just tested, right? So I can select all of these, and I can go into actions, and I can actually create a new plan change rule to capture these changes moving forward. And I can call this something like patch Tuesday 001, for example. It's automatically picked up this server, but actually, I'm going to be rolling this out across all of my Windows environment, and I can even create a window for the change here if I wanted to. So anytime Change Tracker sees any of these file changes on any of our Windows environment between whatever time we put in here, it's going to automatically approve those files through as plan changes, and the plan change status moving forward will say whatever we write in here. So it's really easy for us to keep a good audit trail of why changes are being automatically approved through as planned, and then it's very easy to identify the unplanned changes. So that's one thing we can do. The other thing that we can do with this one unplanned change here is, say I already had a plan change rule in place. Well, I can just extend an existing rule to capture this change moving forwards. So we can just add this to an existing rule. But all I'm going to do on this occasion, I'm just going to acknowledge the change as a once-off. I'm just going to manually acknowledge the change. Go back to my dashboard, refresh that. We can see now all of our 30 changes here are now green plan changes. And again, the audit trail, you can see this is the one that I just manually acknowledged. So it's nice and clear for us in our audit trail why things are being approved as planned. And then we have we always have this filter available to us on every page, so we can filter this data out by device, by group of devices, by date range, event types, all this good stuff. So we can very easily filter out any of our data. We can build queries and reports from here. So if you needed to show any reports to your management, then you can do that very, very easily as well. So one last thing to show you is I wanted to show you the network device changes as well, just so you can see what they are. There won't be much change activity on there, so let's give that a month. So I have a Cisco router here, and this is some changes that have happened. So if I click into here, okay, so this is what we get, right? So we can see the description of what's happening. We're doing a show running config command on a regular poll. So you can see it's a poll here, scheduled poll. It's doing a show running config. On the left, excuse me. On the left is our secure baseline, and on the right is the new output. And you can see that we have a very clear green, amber, red output here. So green means that something has been inserted. So there was nothing here, but now this is here, right? Amber means something has changed. So this is what it was. This is what it is now. Red means something has been deleted. So this was here and now it isn't. So that's what we give you for the network device change tracking as well. So you can kind of see nice and clearly what's happened. Yeah, I'm sort of conscious we've reached the top of the hour. It's just really quickly, you know, there's role-based access available as well, so it's really easy to create new users. So some of our customers, they might actually give their auditors access to particular things. So maybe you want to give your auditors access to your, do I have an ISO group? No, I've got a PCI group. You know, maybe you have your PCI auditor or your ISO auditor come in, you restrict them to a particular set of devices, you give them a particular role, in whatever role you want to give them. Support AD, we support single sign-on. The roles and permissions are kept down here. Very easy to customize. Again, you know, the theme is that this is really easy to use. So we can create an auditor role here, and we can select from the drop down what we want them to be able to do, right? Very, very straightforward, very easy to do. And then finally, just to show you quickly, is notifications. So notifications are done, again, it's based on username, it's based on group of devices. So maybe we want to know about all of our all devices, and we don't want to know about all unplanned changes. And we want an email alert or an alert into our SIM to tell us about any alerts. So really, really easy to create those as well. So yeah, that's Nataraja.